Negative again. Jennifer Bradley sighed deeply as she stared at the pregnancy test in the bathroom of her luxury Manhattan apartment. As the morning sun streamed through the window, she felt the weight of 3 years of fertility treatments bearing down on her. The monthly emotional roller coaster of test results, followed by inevitable disappointment. This cycle had cast a deep shadow over her heart. At 35, she had built a career spanning over a decade as an accomplished accountant at a prestigious Boston firm. Her meticulous nature and sincere personality had earned her clients' deep trust. Behind her slim-framed glasses that gave her an intellectual appearance, her brown eyes reflected yet another disappointing result this morning. 3 early morning injections per week, daily medications, and regular checkups had become her routine. Every Sunday at Trinity Church Mass, Jennifer would offer her prayers. "Dear Lord, please bless me with a child." Her faith was her anchor. Sitting in the old wooden pews, bathed in light filtering through the stained glass windows, she would repeat her heartfelt prayers time and time again. "Jenny, we have the Johnson Project meeting at 8. Michael's voice carried from the bedroom. As sales director at a real estate development company, her husband was a man who always kept things running on schedule. With his sturdy build that wore suits well, he appeared to others as the ideal husband, the envy of those around him. At his office in the Prudential Tower, he always maintained a perfect smile. But there was a secret no one knew. Michael was severely infertile. When the doctor told him, he had silently accepted this fact without telling his wife. His pride and fear of impact on his promotion had kept him quiet. And so he accompanied his wife to fertility treatments while constantly facing his own guilt. "I know." Her response came with a slight tremor in her voice. Stepping out of the bathroom, Jennifer was dressed in her usual perfect suit. On the commuter train to her office in the Back Bay district, she tried once again to switch into work mode. Around the same time, at a nail salon in suburban Boston, her sister Amy Carter was preparing to open for the day. With her flashy blonde hair tied back and dressed in the latest trends, she was managing to run the salon that she'd opened with her stepmother's help. Though slightly off Newbury Street, she had steadily built up a loyal clientele. The sisters' lives had changed dramatically after their mother's death. Having lost their birth mother at a young age, they gained a stepmother through their father's remarriage. The stepmother doted excessively on Amy, her younger stepdaughter, while treating Jennifer coldly. The disparity showed in everything from the number of Christmas presents to the scale of birthday parties and support for education. Growing up in this environment, Amy developed an unspoken rivalry with her sister. "Big sister is always perfect," Amy muttered while applying her makeup in the mirror. Her sister, a Harvard Medical School graduate with outstanding grades. A brilliant career at a top company. An ideal marriage. Deep down, she harbored a profound inferiority complex toward her sister. Jennifer and Michael's married life appeared flawless on the surface. As an elite couple, they lived an enviable life in their Manhattan luxury apartment. Their weekends consisted of brunches at Stephanie's on Newbury, shopping at Whole Foods Market, and workouts at Equinox Sports Club. However, 3 years of fertility treatments had created invisible cracks in their relationship. One Sunday afternoon, during their usual sister brunch, Amy casually announced, "Hey, sis, I'm pregnant." When she heard those words, Jennifer didn't notice that her husband's expression had frozen for just a moment. The mimosa on the table sparkled in the afternoon sun. The clock hands quietly marked the moment of destiny, unnoticed by anyone. Changes began to appear around the end of spring. "Working late again?" Jennifer questioned her husband's back from her position on the living room sofa. Michael, adjusting his tie in the mirror, answered in his usual tone. Yes, wrapping up the Johnson project. Working late more than 3 times a week. Working 2 or 3 weekends a month. That itself wasn't unusual in the real estate development world. But something was different. He used to always call about his return time, but lately, it was just a text message saying, "I'll be late." After working weekends, he'd come home without showing any signs of fatigue. His cell phone had become like an extension of his body. During meals, in the shower, it was always within reach. He would respond immediately to calls and quickly reply to text messages. Sometimes she'd catch him talking in hushed tones on the balcony. His figure, exchanging laughs with someone against the backdrop of the Charles River at night, seemed somehow distant. Is that a new tie? One morning, Jennifer noticed an unfamiliar striped pattern on her husband's chest. Though it was a new Hermes design, the flashy colors weren't his usual style. "Oh, it's a birthday present from my staff." A casual response. However, his birthday was still 2 months away. Moreover, gifts from his staff were usually golf equipment. One night, after returning from Equinox Sports Club, while sorting laundry, she caught an unfamiliar perfume scent from Michael's suit. A sweet, sensual fragrance. Definitely not hers. Not Chanel No. 5, nor her favorite Jo Malone. It was a sweet fragrance that seemed to suit a young woman. Around that time, her husband's demeanor had somehow brightened. More careful grooming than usual. A new aftershave lotion. More frequent weekend golf games, and longer showers after returning home. He stopped accompanying her on weekend shopping trips to Whole Foods, and increasingly went out saying he had errands to run. After Sunday service at Trinity Church, Jennifer began spending long hours in the church garden. Gazing at the light filtering through the stained glass, offering prayers. However, her prayers had changed from asking for a child to preserving her marriage bonds. Am I imagining things? Jennifer desperately tried to shake off such doubts. She immersed herself in work, continued fertility treatments, and strived to be the perfect wife. However, fate would ironically lead her to the truth. One rainy afternoon in late June. After finishing her regular checkup at Brigham and Women's Hospital, Jennifer was walking home with her umbrella when she spotted a familiar car near Newberry Street. Michael's black BMW. However, this was far from his office district. The car was parked in front of Amy's nail salon. 2 shadows were reflected in the window, illuminated by the interior lights. An intimate conversation. And gestures that made her want to look away. It can't be. Her legs trembled. But she couldn't find the courage to confirm it. She walked away in the rain. As she walked to Copley Station, tears mingled with the raindrops on her cheeks. 2 weeks later. Among the pile of receipts in Michael's study, she found them. An expensive dinner at Les Sablons. Drinks at the Mandarin Oriental Lounge. And nail care at Amy's salon. All had both their names. The dates on the bills matched her husband's overtime days. My clients referred Michael to me too. Her sister's words now took on a different meaning. Looking back, there had been subtle changes in Amy's behavior too. She was wearing more expensive brands, had bought a new car, and had renovated her salon. The day of the pregnancy announcement. At the upscale French restaurant Les Sablons, the family had gathered. When Amy announced her pregnancy, Jennifer definitely saw it. Just for a moment. Her husband's hands trembled, nearly spilling his wine glass. Her sister's profile showed a somewhat triumphant expression. Their stepmother was in high spirits. "Congratulations, Amy. You'll make a wonderful mother." Those words blatantly revealed her favoritism between the sisters. However, Jennifer's mind was elsewhere at that moment. Why had her husband been so shaken? Why had her sister given him such meaningful glances? By July, the couple's life had completely cooled. Separate bedrooms. Minimal conversation. On holidays, Michael frequently went golfing. His return times were late, and he wouldn't appear in the living room until after showering. The silence flowing between them grew heavier by the day. "I'm considering a solo transfer to the Chicago branch." One night, Michael abruptly brought it up. He said it would be for 2 years. Fertility treatments were no longer even mentioned. Jennifer understood the true meaning behind this proposal. What happened to us? Her husband didn't answer her question. Outside the window, Boston's night skyline gleamed indifferently. Late August. Amy's due date was approaching. On Jennifer's desk lay mounting evidence of her suspicions. Phone records. Unusual expenses. Witness accounts. And the decisive photographs. The two of them entering a hotel in the Back Bay district. The private investigator's report told the whole story. As the chime announcing the end of visiting hours echoed through the halls, Jennifer stepped off the elevator at the obstetrics ward of Brigham and Women's Hospital. Her footsteps resonating in the white corridor seemed to merge with her heartbeat. Through the windows, the view of the Longwood Medical Area was bathed in autumn twilight. In front of the hospital room door, she took a deep breath. Then gently knocked. "Come in." It was her sister's voice. Bright and clear. As if she had done nothing wrong. Opening the door revealed the scene she had expected. Amy holding the baby in bed. And Michael standing beside her. The two of them looked like a perfect family scene from a painting. "Oh, big sister." Amy greeted her cheerfully while holding the baby. Wearing flashy pink pajamas and perfect makeup, her sister looked too radiant to have just given birth. "It's a boy. A healthy 6-pound baby." Michael's expression stiffened for a moment. But he quickly covered it with a smile. "Congratulations." Jennifer's voice was surprisingly calm. The professional composure cultivated over 10 years of career was supporting her now. "Hey, sis, you're just a defective product who can't have children." Amy's words froze the air in the hospital room. Her arms holding the baby showed a slight tremor. Her eyes held a gleam of assured victory. "I was blessed with a child, but you couldn't have one. I guess I'm the better woman after all?" Michael remained motionless, staring out the window. The evening light painted his profile red. "Right," he suddenly turned around. "Let's settle this once and for all." He pulled out a document from his suit's inner pocket. It was divorce papers. "These are divorce papers. Just fill them out and submit them." The documents thrown onto the desk seemed strangely bright in the sunset light. That's when it happened. Without a knock, the door opened. "Excuse me." A middle-aged man in a white coat entered. Dr. Peterson. The hospital's top doctor and head of obstetrics. He held several documents in his hands. "I have important information regarding the blood type test results." The doctor's voice carried a tension unlike his usual calm demeanor. Normally, newborn blood type testing is performed within 24 hours after birth. This is standard procedure. The doctor looked down at his documents. The baby's blood type is AB. A moment of silence. The father, Michael, has blood type O. The color drained from Amy's face. The mother, Amy, has blood type B. The doctor turned another page in the chart. And Jennifer, you also have blood type B. Both parents are from B blood type families. The air in the hospital room instantly froze. As you know, it's absolutely impossible for a type O father to have an AB type child. This is a basic genetic principle that's even in middle school biology textbooks. Michael's face turned pale. Amy's hands trembled, and the baby let out a small cry. Furthermore, the doctor continued, I've also reviewed Michael's fertility treatment records. He pulled out test results from 3 years ago. Medical records showing Michael's severe infertility. The sperm count is extremely low, making natural conception almost impossible. This condition hasn't changed in 3 years. Outside the window, an ambulance siren wailed in the distance. The weight of truth quietly settled in the twilight hospital room. Jennifer slowly stood up. Is DNA testing necessary? Her voice was surprisingly calm. 10 years of marriage. 3 years of fertility treatments. And betrayal with her beloved sister. All mysteries were converging into one truth. The doctor's revealed truth was about to dramatically change the lives of these 3 people, like a judgment of fate. 30 minutes had passed since Michael and Amy disappeared from the hospital room. Their footsteps seemed to still echo in the hallways of Brigham and Women's Hospital. Jennifer stood by the window of the hospital room, looking down at the documents in her hands. Medical records, blood type test results, and her husband's fertility treatment charts. Everything served as perfect evidence. Mrs. Bradley. Dr. Peterson quietly spoke. These records can be used as evidence in court if needed. I can also testify as a witness myself. The doctor's words were tinged with deep sympathy for his longtime patient. Thank you. Her voice was surprisingly composed. That night, when Jennifer returned to her luxury condominium in the Back Bay district, an empty bedroom awaited her. Michael's clothes and personal items had vanished completely. In the closet, only hangers remained where his suits usually hung. The lingering scent of unfamiliar perfume seemed to tell the whole story. On the study desk lay an envelope. Inside was a reservation confirmation for the Four Seasons Hotel in Manhattan. Her husband, who had fled like a fugitive, presumably intended to take refuge there. The desk drawers contained numerous documents showing investments in Amy's salon. There were traces of monthly funds of $50,000 flowing into the salon. Mrs. Bradley, I'm Sarah Collins from Collins & Associates law firm. The next morning, Jennifer was attending her first legal consultation. On the 45th floor of the Prudential Tower, in the heart of the luxury office district. Through the windows, the Charles River gleamed silver. This is a very clear-cut case. Sarah Collins was a dignified female lawyer in her late 40s. A Harvard Law School graduate, she was highly regarded as a divorce specialist. Her nameplate gleamed under the fluorescent lights on the desk. Not only is there clear evidence of infidelity, but we also have decisive medical evidence. Moreover, the malicious nature of infidelity between sisters will be considered. Massachusetts case law has awarded substantial damages in similar cases. On the desk lay private investigator reports and hospital records. Photos documented the two of them entering and leaving luxury hotels, intimate moments at restaurants, and numerous scenes at the salon. For compensation, we can demand $300,000, double the average amount in Boston. Furthermore, we should be able to secure favorable terms for property division. Under Massachusetts law, when infidelity is proven, the court tends to favor the victim in property division. As she listened to the legal explanation, different emotions swirled in Jennifer's heart. 10 years of marriage. 3 years of fertility treatments. And betrayal with her beloved sister. It went beyond what money could compensate for. Outside the window, autumn clouds drifted by. Meanwhile, another drama was unfolding at the family home. How could this happen? In the living room of their family home in the upscale Brookline district, their stepmother Mary had turned pale. The Boston Globe's morning edition detailed the affair scandal of a prominent real estate company executive as a local story. I raised that child. The stepmother's hands trembled. Her Sevres luxury teacup rattled against its saucer. Amy, whom she had loved like her own daughter for years, had committed such an immoral act, having an affair with her sister's husband and bearing his child. In the study, their father George sat silently reading the newspaper. As a Harvard University professor who had spent years in academic life, he seemed deep in thought behind his intellectual glasses. Mary. He quietly addressed his wife. You spoiled Amy too much. And you were too cold to Jennifer. This distorted family relationship led to today's tragedy. For the first time, the father directly pointed out the stepmother's favoritism. The family photo hanging on the study wall silently witnessed this moment. After Sunday service at Trinity Church, Jennifer spent a long time in the church garden. She offered prayers with the Gothic-style building as her backdrop. Faith had become a major support for her now. God sees your suffering. Reverend Martha from the church gently spoke to her. The warm words of encouragement from the female priest in her 70s seeped into her heart. Marigolds blooming in the garden sparkled in the autumn sunlight. By late September, all evidence was gathered. Records of Michael and Amy's 3-year affair. Records showing they regularly used room 2112 at the Mandarin Oriental Suite. Receipts for late-night dinners at Les Sablons. And bank transaction records showing backdoor investments in Amy's salon. It had all been a calculated betrayal. The cell phone records were also decisive. Dozens of messages exchanged daily. Long phone calls late at night. Photo and video exchanges. All of it substantiated the affair. Ma'am, everything is ready. Upon receiving contact from Sarah Collins, Jennifer headed to the final confrontation. The location was a conference room at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. The Emerald Room on the 12th floor, the top floor commanding a view of Boston's evening cityscape. On the luxurious wooden table already lay stacks of settlement agreements. The involved parties were already present in the room. Michael and his lawyer James Wilson. Amy and her accompanying lawyer Linda Parker. And stepmother Mary. Everyone seemed to feel the weight of the impending settlement negotiations. Let us begin the settlement discussion. Sarah Collins's voice echoed in the quiet conference room. Outside the window, Boston's streetlights were beginning to illuminate one by one. The sunset reflected off the yacht harbor along the Charles River. First, $300,000 in compensation. For property division, 80% of the Back Bay condominium and investment accounts. Additionally, full reimbursement of fertility treatment costs paid as medical expenses. This amounts to the full $127,500 paid over the past 3 years. Michael's face tensed. Amy remained looking down, unable to control her trembling hands. Her luxury brand handbag swayed with her tremors. And from Amy Carter, $150,000 in damages. Wait. The stepmother cried out. Amy can't possibly. Be quiet. Jennifer's voice was ice cold. The temperature in the conference room seemed to drop instantly. You spoiled Amy too much. That resulted in this situation. Stealing her own sister's husband and trying to corner me using a fake pregnancy. Isn't this a small price to pay for that? The stepmother collapsed into her chair. She didn't seem to care that her expensive Chanel suit was getting wrinkled. The negotiations proceeded surprisingly smoothly. Neither Michael nor Amy had room for objection. The DNA test results were already in. The baby's father was one of Amy's regular salon clients. This fact made Michael's expression even more pained. This is the end, Jennifer quietly declared as she looked at the signed documents. Her signature, written with a Mont Blanc fountain pen, still glistened with wet ink on the settlement agreement. Never appear before me again. As she left the Ritz-Carlton, a full moon shone in the sky. The trees in Boston Common Park swayed in the autumn breeze. Maple leaves glowed red in the streetlights. That night, Jennifer headed to her family home. Her father was waiting at the entrance. In his hands, worn from years of research, he held a message from his daughter. Jenny. Her father silently embraced her. The father-daughter bond, long hidden in the stepmother's shadow, was quietly being forged. In his warm arms, Jennifer released the tears she had held back for so many years. On the desk in the study sat a photograph. A picture of the sisters when they were young. Two faces with pure, innocent smiles. Next to it was their mother's memorial photo. Their mother in an elegant kimono, wearing a gentle smile. Mom. Jennifer quietly spoke to the photograph. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Behind her, the old grandfather clock in the family home quietly marked time. Outside the window, the autumn night wind rustled the street trees. Red maple leaves danced in the moonlight, falling like harbingers of a new season. 6 months later, in spring, Boston's streets were adorned with cherry blossoms announcing the arrival of a new season. New home along the Charles River. Jennifer stood by the window, gazing at the cherry trees in full bloom. Wind from the Cambridge side lifted pale pink petals into the air. Ms. Bradley, preparations for the 10 o'clock meeting are ready. Turning at her assistant's voice, she saw the view of her new office. 3 months after starting her business, she had begun walking a new career path as the president of an accounting consulting firm. After the divorce, she made a big decision. She left the accounting firm where she had worked for over 10 years and established her own company. Bradley Financial Consulting. The name carried her strong determination to reclaim her life. Thank you, Sarah. The new office was on the 15th floor of the latest office building in the Seaport District. Large windows offered a panoramic view of Boston Harbor. Modern white interior decor was softened by potted plants adding gentle touches of green. She still continued psychological counseling. Weekly sessions with Dr. Linda Johnson at Massachusetts General Hospital had become her emotional support. Trauma takes time to overcome. But you're definitely moving forward. The counselor's words always gave her courage. On weekends, she had started new hobbies. She attended Boston Symphony Orchestra concerts, exploring the deep world of classical music. She refreshed her mind and body with morning yoga at the Charles River Esplanade. She even began taking French classes at Harvard Extension School. Her relationship with her father had deepened remarkably. "Jenny, would you like to read this paper?" Her Harvard professor father had begun enjoying intellectual conversations with his daughter. Sunday brunches had become a precious father-daughter tradition. Her relationship with her stepmother was also gradually changing. "Jennifer, I'm truly sorry." Before Christmas, her stepmother apologized tearfully. Jennifer quietly nodded as she watched her stepmother acknowledge years of favoritism and ask for forgiveness. Complete reconciliation would take time, but it seemed they had taken the first step. A new encounter came in an unexpected form. It started with work for a certain NPO. After taking on the role of financial advisor for the adoption support group, New Family Foundation, her life began moving in a new direction. "I understand well how women struggling with infertility feel." Jennifer shared her own experience at support group meetings. Her words resonated deeply with women facing the same struggles. "I'm considering adoption myself." That decision slowly but surely took shape. Meanwhile, her former family members were walking their own paths. Michael had completely lost his credibility at work. The affair scandal had a fatal impact on his career in the conservative real estate industry. He was demoted, his salary reduced by more than half. They said he was living a lonely life in his parents' apartment. Amy was facing the collapse of her salon business. With Michael's financial support cut off, customers gradually left. The hardships of single motherhood slowly wore away at her arrogance. Cut off even from her stepmother, she was learning to live on her own for the first time. "I can't forget his expression when we found out who the baby's father was." During lunch with Sarah Collins, Jennifer spoke quietly. Now, even that memory felt like a distant event. A single photograph hung in the living room of her new home. Her mother's memorial picture. Jennifer would sometimes talk to the photo of her mother in her elegant kimono, wearing that gentle smile. "Mom, I think I can walk forward now." Outside the window, spring winds lifted cherry blossom petals into the air. The breath of new life enveloped the streets of Boston. The sunset reflecting on the Charles River quietly illuminated hope for tomorrow. And then, one day, "Ms. Bradley, we seem to have a very good matching possibility for adoption." A call came in from the New Family Foundation caseworker. A meeting with a new family was about to begin from there.